morning everyone. We're going to be starting very shortly. We're just waiting for a few more people to join us and then we'll start. I'm coming up to you now.
Get started. So hello everyone, welcome to the Maru Koala and Animal Park. My name is Tristan and welcome to another edition of the live Friday feeding. Now we've already got started with one of our devils feeding. So this is Uncle Fester. He is a 2-year-old male, so he's starting to eat away at that nice meat there because these Tasmanian devils, they are a carnivore, so that means they do love to eat the meat. Now, this meat we do have here today is actually some ethically sourced kangaroo because we like to provide our devils with a diet that they would get out in the wild. We like to represent that diet through kangaroo, and they do love to eat all of the meat and even the bones because our Tasmanian devils, they are actually a scavenger. They are a predator, but they are a scavenger. So that means that they're going to have the opportunity to grab something. They may grab it if they have that opportunity, but the best kind of food is free food. These scavengers, they love to use their excellent sense of smell to find carrion. Now, carrion is usually an animal that has already died. So a little devil like this is not really going to take down a big kangaroo or a wallaby. So we provide this nice kangaroo meat because it also has a little bit of the bone in there as well. You're going to come back and have a little feed. So that bone is very important because devils, they have a very large skull and they have very strong muscles so that they can actually crush the bone and utilize all parts of that animal. They can eat the marrow inside of that bone. So when they do come back, you'll be able to see just how big their head is compared to their body. And that large skull and those really strong muscles have one of the strongest bite forces of any animal, especially compared to their size. They're quite a small animal, but they can crush through that bone, which means they're going to be happy to eat every single part of that animal. They are like garbage disposal units. So they can actually congregate around a large carcass, and like we have here today with a little bit of kangaroo on this chain, we can actually we can represent that large carcass where they actually have to pull against each other and break off little bits. Now it looks like they've gone for a little bit of a hide over this way, but I'm sure they will want to come back. You gonna come back over here, Fester? Yeah, there's a nice little bit of meat here. See? That's it, there we go. Now you can see how he's pulling against that to try and break off little chunks so he can actually eat it. And they've got that short stocky body with some strong legs to be able to try and pull that meat off. Now, out in the wild, a lot of devils, they are actually solitary animals. They will spend most of their day sleeping, solitary, but they will actually congregate around these large carcasses. So it means that these devils actually become social when they are around that food. And so you might hear some of the vocalizations, especially if Leandra, our 3-year-old female, decides to come out of her bed. It is a little bit early, and our devils in the wild generally are nocturnal. You might be able to hear a little bit of that vocalization. So these devils, they do have a black and white colour, which actually helps them during the evening, especially being a nocturnal animal. They can actually have deceptive camouflage, which is basically having that black colour with a little bit of white actually helps to break up their dark frame. So it means that in the night, the main colours you see are definitely that dark night and then the moonlight coming through. So they have this excellent form of deception camouflage. We're actually going to head around because our devils are actually feeding over here now that they pulled it off the chain. So you might be able to come around here, have a little look, and see them actually fighting over this food. We might move this. Yeah, well, let's bring you in here a little bit closer so you can see what's going on down here. So you can hear some of those vocalizations. Yeah, hello. I'm not the food. The food's back over there. Leondra's taken it from you. So you can see those really red ears they do have as well. It is actually an excellent form of cooling down. They can't sweat like we do, but those ears, they actually have a lot of blood flow into their ears, and evaporative cooling, the wind passing by, can actually help to lower their body temperature if they get too hot. You can see those lovely red ears on the front of Uncle Fester's face. He doesn't know what to do now. Leandra has stolen the food, hasn't she? Look how cute they are though. A very nice small carnivore, and they actually used to be part of mainland Australia's carnivores. But when the dingoes did move in, they were actually pushed out, became extinct on the mainland, and that's why they are known as the Tasmanian Devil. You only find them on the island of Tasmania. There's only about 15,000 left in the wild. So these guys are very important to us, and it's a great way we can educate people about these devils. But you can see them chewing away. They've got quite a wide set of jaws, so they can actually grab onto large pieces of meat. And they've actually got a nice big set of canines in there. Now you can see Uncle Fester's actually using his hands as well. They're very dexterous hands. They can use them to grab onto things. They're actually very good at climbing as well. So those hands become very important to the devils. You can hear some of that wonderful vocalization. Yes, hello. Yeah, I made a bit of a noise over here, didn't I? But you can see that wonderful shape. Even our devils, just like humans, have individual markings to make them look unique. So Uncle Fester here, he's got different markings to Leandra, who is back in the burrow.
Christian, can you tell us a little bit about what we and New Zealand Park are doing to try and save this species?
So we are a small privately owned business. So we're not government funded, but we're actually part of a special organisation called the Zoos and Aquarium Association of Australia. So we're part of a broader conservation program for these Tasmanian devils to help create a insurance population. So these guys, they are very important. They're part of ZAR's breeding program, so they can actually be called back into the program whenever needed, because we do have some other devils doing the breeding. These guys are here just basically waiting their turn to jump into that program. So we are actually part of another foundation, the Save the Tasmanian Devil Fund, which is run through the Tasmanian government, and they actually they basically help the Tasmanian devils out in the wild. So ZAR definitely helps to provide a little bit of extra funding, and the zoos that hold these animals were actually very good at providing that education so people can know about the plight of these devils, to make sure that we learn to love them, because they are an important part of the Tasmanian ecosystem. If we lose these devils, then that will be a large flow-on effect to the rest of the animals in that environment. So one of the big things affecting these devils out in the wild is actually the devil facial tumour that some people may have heard about, and it's something that can actually grow on their face, which can prevent them from smelling, breathing and eating, and it's something that can be transferred from one devil to the other. Especially as you've seen some of our devils here having a little bit of a fight with each other over the food. They can actually pass it from one devil to the next.
Maybe we'll give Uncle Fester his own.
Alrighty, we'll give Uncle Fester a little bit of his own food. So we've got a little bit here on a bungee cord that we can use. Basically like a game of tug of war. But like I said before, like we had the meat on the chain, it's basically how they would feed out in the wild. So they need to use that really strong jaw pressure to actually rip little pieces off that meat. And you can see all that talking that they're doing between each other. Leandra, she's the boss. She's stolen the piece of meat, and she's telling Uncle Fester what's what. You having some fun there? He's going to try and pull it into his little burrow as well.
So you're going to talk about the memberships?
So, obviously, we would love to have people come here and visit. And if you do want to actually help while we are closed at the moment, you can actually purchase an annual membership. So an annual membership will basically make sure that it's not activated until we're open again. But that annual membership will go towards caring for our devils and the rest of our animals here at Maru. We know a lot of people have enjoyed coming to visit us, and if you want to help out, purchase that annual membership, and we will help take care of these animals and provide you with more of these Friday feeds and social media so you can feel as involved as you can until we get back open again. Uncle Fester's having a good time, and Leandra's decided to have a little bit of a rest. You can see Uncle Fester there munching away some of that meat that he's pulled off. Now, if you didn't know, our Tasmanian Devils, they are actually a marsupial. They are a carnivorous marsupial, which makes them a dasyurid. That is the scientific name of our carnivorous marsupials. So, Leandra back there, she actually does have a pouch. So, she actually can give birth to quite a few joeys, but really about up to 4 joeys at a time they can rear. She has about 4 teats inside of her pouch, and those young will stay with mum for up to a year. They do spend about 105 days, just over 3 months inside the pouch, and about 5 to 6 months outside of the pouch. So just like our kangaroos, our wallabies, our wombats, our koalas, they're part of that marsupial family. Now, they do have a larger cousin. Unfortunately, that larger cousin did become extinct. Now, a lot of people may know, but it is called the Tasmanian tiger. That was the cousin that became extinct back in 1936. The last individual died at Adelaide Zoo. And so that's why it's very important, the work that we're doing to try and conserve these animals, to try and protect them from extinction, because not a lot of work was done to help save the Tasmanian tiger almost 100 years ago, but now we're doing a lot of work, which is why it's important we're a member zoo in the ZAR organisation. So we make sure that we can coordinate with all of the zoos around the world that do hold these Tasmanian devils. The species coordinator can tell us which animals need to go and breed at which facilities, so we can have a very strong genetic population. And there are lots of organisations that help to try and release devils back out into the wild.
Have any interesting questions popped up there too?
So there is a question about membership. If you are looking for a membership, if you go to the Maru Koala and Animal Park website, that is where you can purchase our annual memberships. And I'm going to have a little look while they're having a little bit of a talk to each other. Let's see if we've got any other questions. So I do see a question, and hello to those of you that have just joined us, but there is a question about what they are feeding. At the start of the video, I did discuss that we try to make sure that we provide our devils with a diet that is very close to that that they get out in the wild. So this is actually some ethically sourced kangaroo, because that is a type of food that they would eat out in the wild. Now I do get there's another question out there. Do they like to swim when it's hot? And definitely we've seen our devils love to have a little bit of a swim in our big pond at the back, and they are very good swimmers as well. Like I said before, they've got some very dexterous hands. They're very good climbers as well, but they also have some webbing in between of their toes, so they can actually swim well as well. Let's see if we've got any other good questions out there. Let's go down to the bottom here. How long do they live? There is a good question. Thank you for that. Our devils, they only live quite short lives. they do actually live only about 5 to 8 years. So they become mature by about 2 to 3 years of age. That's when they can breed themselves. And then they breed up until about 5 to 6 years old. So over their lifetime, they could probably have about 16 joeys, as they can have up to 4 at one time. Now, good question about males and females. Our males are actually a little bit bigger and stockier than our females, because they do have to defend their territories quite well. And so our Uncle Fester here, he's actually a year younger than Leandra, and he's much bigger and stockier. Not too much. There is not sexual dimorphism. They're not twice the size, but there is a bit of a difference. And if you have just joined us, they don't live in family units. Looks like Uncle Fester's back. Here we go. They are solitary, but they are very social when it comes to feeding. As they do feed on larger carcasses, they do have to use a number of devils to help try and pull against each other, just like this bungee cord we're using today. Uncle Fester's pulling against the bungee cord to try and break off little tiny bits of that meat. Now, we do have Uncle Fester here, and we do have Leandra, if you might be able to see, hiding away back in there. She's decided she's had enough food for today, but we're going to leave this food in all day, and we'll take it out overnight, whatever there is left. But usually, if you only joined us, they have a very strong jaw power, so they can actually eat all parts of the animal. They can actually crush that bone, as you might be able to hear there, and eat the marrow inside of the bone.
We're doing a wrap up and mention dingoes next week.
Alrighty, well, I do hope you have enjoyed our Friday feeding today. Our devils certainly have. And for those of you that would like to join us again next week, we will be doing a Friday live feeding with our dingoes. I know everybody does love to see the dingoes. They're quite a cute animal. And we'll have some of our other keepers joining you next week for that Friday feeding. Now, I want to thank everybody who has tuned in today. We appreciate everyone coming and joining us on our live feed. Obviously, we miss having everybody here at the park to enjoy these animals in person, but we want to try and make sure that you guys get that experience while you are either locked down at home or not able to visit here in Victoria. So thank you again, everyone. Hope you enjoyed it, and we might wrap it all up, and I'm going to pass it over to one of our other keepers. There we go.
And again, guys, if you'd like to support Maru by purchasing an annual membership, which won't be activated until the park is open again, you can help us to not only look after our Tassie Devils, but all the animals here at the park. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.